Hi everyone, I'm so excited to share this new series with you. A lot of you agreed that you'd like to see video interviews with inspiring people. So this is something I've been really excited to work on, and it's been in the planning process for a while. And I'm finally bringing out my first one. I really hope you enjoy it. My first amazing guest is Holly Wood. She is the founder of WeBlogNorth and also the Northern Blog Awards, and she's been an incredible friend, blogging colleague. She's just an amazing woman, and I'm very proud to have her as my first guest. So I hope you enjoy hearing her story. I'd also love to hear your guys' ideas about names, because I want to name this series so you guys can see it in your subscription feed, but I'm not sure what a nice catchy name would be for sort of inspiring conversations with people who are into like personal development, business, positivity, well-being, like all the things that you guys know I talk about on this channel. I'd love to hear any name ideas you have, so leave any in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that. And I will also leave all of Holly's links below, so go and show her some love at the end of watching this video and enjoy. Hello, thank you for talking to me.
Pleasure as always.
So for anyone who might not know what WeBlogNorth is about, or the Northern Blog Awards,
Yeah.
and who might not follow you, just tell us a bit more about how you got to doing what you do today.
Okay, well, I guess it all starts with my own personal blog, Holly Goes Lightly, which I've been doing for about, must be 6 years now. And when I moved up from London to Manchester, I was blogging, but I didn't have any friends that did it. So part of kind of where WeBlogMCR started was me looking for friends in the blogging world, because my boyfriend at the time and my family all used to just roll their eyes when I talked about blogging, and nobody really got it. It wasn't a thing back then. So I put a tweet out, and just to see if there was anyone else in Manchester who was blogging and who wanted to make other friends and maybe, you know, collaborate and learn from each other. And then about 20 people replied, which I just couldn't believe. It seemed like, oh my God, like really huge that 20 people replied. And before I knew it, about a week later, we were having our first WeBlogMCR meetup. And I branded it quite quickly, because I sort of thought, oh, this could be a thing. Even at the back of my head, I had a full-time job and I didn't really know what it was going to be, but I thought, well, maybe it could be a thing, because I think I realised quite quickly that there obviously was a bit of a niche or a bit of a hole somewhere if there were other people looking for the same thing. So although I didn't think about it, I branded it as WeBlogMCR. And then we had our first meetup, and like some amazing bloggers came of all different kind of levels, people that have been doing it for years and then complete beginners. And I just felt like I was meeting like-minded people for the first time, and like we just, you know, I hit it off and made some friends, you know, for life, because they're still friends now. And then, but as I had a full-time job, it was kind of few and far between that we'd meet up, so every few months. And I'd try, my background's events, so I always try to do something with it rather than just go to a pub and have a drink and, you know, have a chat. I always tried to make it something a little bit different. So I'd always say, like, bring a prop and we'll do some selfies, or I'd brand, you know, some kind of posters for the background or something. I always
did my first WeBlogMCR meetup.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and because I wanted it to be memorable, I guess, because like I know there were other things going on, and you know there were blog events maybe at bars and things, but I kind of felt like there wasn't anything that got personal and that got people really talking to each other about collaboration and about inspiration, because I think I felt like in my blogging journey I was looking at some of these amazing bloggers, like these really big bloggers, and thinking, wow, their photos are amazing. How do I take those photos? And this is like before really the days of like Instagram got big and filters, and you know, there's apps for everything now. But 6 years ago there kind of wasn't, and it was like you either have to be really good at Photoshop or have like a professional photographer boyfriend, which just, you know, wasn't happening. So I was doing it selfishly at first because I wanted to meet other people that I could learn from and think, right, well, you're really good at, you know, photography, so let's do a shoot together, and you know, I'm really good at this and I can help you with that. And so that's kind of where the ethos for WeBlog was born, because it was to inspire each other, to learn from each other, and to collaborate. And that's kind of what I think were quite quickly our USPs. And then I became pregnant, and during maternity leave I left my job, and it was a really good, as with, you know, many things when you have a baby, your life changes in so many more ways than you can ever expect. I kind of thought, this is my opportunity to try and actually do something with WeBlog MCR, and to try and grow, and, you know, quite frankly, to try and make a business out of it, you know. And I thought, over the last 5-6 years, you know, blogging has become a thing. It's become an industry. It's become a recognised thing now, that people want to work with bloggers and vloggers and influencers, rather than people rolling their eyes like they did when I first started. So when I was on maternity leave, I kind of thought, right, let's give this a go. It's flexible. I can do it with a kid, and try and grow something out of it. So I reintroduced the meetups, and which I know you were at.
Yeah.
And, you know, this whole new group of people came, and I was like a bit intimidated, because I thought, God, I suddenly felt really old, like in the blogging world, you know, because I thought, I've been doing it for years. And then there were these people that were vlogging with YouTube channels, and, you know, having like professional photo shoots, and it kind of felt like the industry was moving really quickly. But again, it still felt like, particularly in Manchester anyway, that there was still this need and want for people to talk to each other and share experiences and tips, and, you know, talk about the commercial side of it, like how much do you charge for a blog post if a brand asks you, and all of these, so many different levels now of, you know, kind of the blogging industry. And it was always a bit of a secret. And I think, looking at the bigger bloggers out there, some do now, but a few years ago nobody would really talk about earning money, would they?
I still would say that not many
do, because I think
they hold back a lot.
Yeah, and I don't know what you think, but I think it's because I think people still feel like it's quite lucky to be like a blogger and earning money. Like, it feels like a bit of a dream, isn't it? Because it's something you love to do. It's really flexible. And if suddenly someone starts saying, well, I'll pay you to do that, which you were doing anyway out of the love, then I think some people kind of feel like they need to hold it to themselves and not share.
Yeah.
Whereas my opinion and the way I live my life really in all aspects of work is to kind of, I just think knowledge is power, and I think there's enough, you know, industry and enough money to go round, and I just think if you share that, then it makes you stronger. And again, that was kind of part of WeBlog. I just thought, we're stronger together. And especially when the sort of north-south thing came up, and it's always quite light-hearted. I mean, you know, I'm from London, and I don't hide that I'm a southerner up here, but, you know, I'm an
adopted
Mancunian. I'm a total adopted Mancunian, and really proud to be so. But I do still think, and I share the frustrations with a lot of people, that so much of the blogging industry seems quite centred in London, as with loads of things still. It's changing slowly, but, you know, and some of the big brands are focused on the big London bloggers, and even to the point where some of the biggest northern bloggers are moving down to London. And I get it, and there's various reasons for that, but I think, it was really important to kind of champion the north, and that sort of grew as WeBlog grew as well, and just that kind of like pride in, this is what we're doing up here, and you know, there is a scene, and you know, in Manchester. So I guess that's kind of how WeBlog MCR grew. And then, as you know, things kind of kicked off, and we had all these socials, and more people were coming, you know, new people were tagging along. Again, every time we met, that new topics would be discussed, so we decided to kind of work, you know, to branch out into workshops, and again, this kind of educate and inspire side of the kind of ethos was growing. So we did workshops with people, you know, we've got Georgie who's on board now, who's awesome. We all love
amazing photography.
Amazing photography, and it's things like that you wouldn't, you know, when I started blogging, I wouldn't have even known how to approach a photographer, but Georgie was also starting out her own personal blog, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So coming along to one of our workshops to learn about blogging, and then we were sort of going, oh my God, but your like imagery is what we dream of. It was great, because instantly there was that Skillshare, that collaboration opportunity. So yeah, we branched into workshops and skill sharing and networking and learning, and then it's kind of grown from there into a kind of what I hope is a community, really.
I would definitely say that. I feel like I've made friends for life.
Yeah, I do.
WeBlog.
Yeah, I do.
And tell us more about the Northern Blog Awards. So they've literally just happened at the time of recording this. We just
a couple of
held
days
it
ago.
days ago.
Still knackered. So again, because this echo of, putting the North on the map and feeling like we wanted things to be happening up here in Manchester and the North, idea came about quite quickly that we needed like a big event, like a big kind of staple in the calendar event. And after a bit of like brainstorming, I know you were part of it, and that a few of the girls that are part of WeBlog, we sort of all put our heads together. An awards seemed like a good thing to do because everyone loves an awards. Like, everyone likes being recognised. It felt like a big enough thing that it would get lots of attention. And like with kind of everything I do, I like to come out with a bang and do it properly. I like to come out high and set the bar for myself and for everyone else. And I thought, there's lots of fantastic blogging events up here now, lots of conferences and things like that other guys are doing, and so I didn't want to take anything away from that. I just wanted to kind of do our own thing. So quite quickly the Northern Blog Awards was kind of developed as an idea, and we all got really excited so we were like, let's do this. And I thought, well, if there was 7 of us and we were all really excited, but I thought I can't just do this for me because I want to do it. So I did a huge kind of survey out to the hundreds of people which at that point were on the WeBlog kind of database, just to see if people did want it, and 99.9% were like, yes, let's do this, and like, yes, amazing to have something up north and an excuse to get,
it's that whole like glamour, isn't it?
The glamour of it. And we see the UK Blog Awards, which again is fantastic, down in London, and we see all these pictures, these red carpet events, but it doesn't feel like a lot of bloggers up here are on those guest lists and are on that kind of circuit. So we wanted to create our own scene, with a really kind of positive message of just championing the North, and not just bloggers, because it's all content creators, it's photographers and YouTubers and social influencers. Some people now with Instagram are micro bloggers, aren't they? They don't even have sort of what we'd say was a traditional blog. So it just felt like a nice event and a happy and a positive event, and that's kind of what I want to do. So yeah, we kind of announced that I think back in Easter, March, April.
It was mad how everything's come together in that amount of time.
Yeah, it's a big event. I've learnt a lot. It was 6 months of quite intense planning. And obviously we were doing everything at once. We were sort of going out with public voting and nomination process and, and marketing the event and getting people on board. And obviously we had WeBlog MCR as a base, but it was Manchester bloggers, and the whole point was this was North. So it was kind of trying to get on the radar of bloggers in Leeds and York and the North East and, all of these sorts of places. So it took a little bit of kind of work, but I think the good thing was, and it obviously was echoed across the North, was because as soon as people were hearing about it, there was this buzz and excitement, and it was really nice, actually. I have to say, through my career, it's been like the most positive, fun event to ever work on, because it's something that people want, and it's nice and it's positive. So actually the response has been 99.9% brilliant. So it wasn't hard to get the buzz going, but it was hard to to sell tickets and to grow the event and to get sponsorship and make people understand it's the first year and nobody quite knew what to expect. But yeah, having it's 4 days ago, and it was a success. I have to say, it did go.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was so good. It was more, obviously, we all knew that it would be good because we've been part of this since the beginning, and we all knew we would have a good time, whatever it was, even if it was just us meeting up in a bar. But I don't think I expected how like grand and like glamorous it'd be until we were in the room.
I know.
And it looked like a wedding when we first went in during the day. Big like fancy white tablecloths.
I did
like,
used to be a wedding planner.
There's
probably like a little bit of that in there.
Big fancy candles, like just an amazing like red carpet event.
Yeah, well that's it. And I guess again my background is events and wedding planning, but it's also commercial and brand. So although I was approaching it from a what would I want as a blogger, and what, you know, do I think you guys want, and what have you told me you want, but also what do sponsors want, because again it's looking at it from that other side, because we need, you know, this is just me doing this with the help of you guys. There's no huge financial backing, there's no huge corporation going, here's £100 put on an event. You know, everything had to be self-generated, and that's where I guess a lot of people won't realise the hard work that's gone behind it, which is good because you want it all to look sort of seamless and perfect. But so I guess I was looking at it as a product that brands would want to get involved with, and the right brands. And again, 90% of the brands that came on board were northern. You know, they were northern brands, northern head offices championing the north. You know, we had Christie, who are just fantastic, and Booths and Bathroom Takeaway. They're all up here in the north, and you know, in Lancashire and Greater Manchester. And that for me was a real, like, I felt really proud about that, because I didn't want to sell out with the event, and I didn't want to. I wanted to start as we mean to go on. So, like you say, with it being grand and with it having that kind of wow factor when people walked in, I think I just wanted it to be a no-brainer that people would go, wow, this is cool, and we deserve this. And like, you know, because it is, you know, the people are buying a ticket and they deserve to have the best night out and feel like, you know, this is a special date in their calendar, so that hopefully it's a no-brainer that next year they'll buy a ticket as soon as they go on sale, you know, and it means we can grow it each year and just make it better for everyone. So I did try to come out with a bang, and I think just about pulled it off.
Oh god, you definitely did. It was amazing. So obviously we've talked about like how much work went into that, and one thing I wanted to ask you was like, work-life balance is such a huge topic amongst anything like women in business. And how do you feel like you prioritise yourself in terms of both like self-care and well-being and not going insane, to also prioritising your own personal aspirations and goals and dreams, whether that's your career or other personal things? How do you make time for that while juggling work, family, life, everything else?
It's hard, and it's taken a lot of experimentation, I think, if I'm honest. I've got a 2-year-old, and as I say, I sort of started this business when I was on maternity leave, so I had, you know, a 6-month-old when I was kind of working all this out. And luckily I have a really, really supportive husband, you know, who is a bit of an entrepreneur himself. Well, he is an entrepreneur, and he's got his own agency, so he understands that kind of stepping out of your comfort zone and also stepping away from full-time paid work, because I think as a freelancer, or, you know, starting your own business is terrifying. I mean, you know, like when you put yourself out there and you suddenly think, well, I don't have a salary anymore, and I don't have sick pay, and I don't have all these things that you just sort of brought up to think that you need, or like that's the only way forward. So it is a bit terrifying when you finally decide to go out and do it yourself, but luckily, you know, my husband's really supportive with that, so that has been a massive help. And then just working everything out with my daughter. I, you know, had my year's maternity leave, which was really important to me. I thought, regardless of what I want personally and with my career, I knew that year was quite significant for me and my child to have together. And throughout my working life, I have always made a point of work-life balance, and I do with other people. And if ever I've had, you know, staff or people on a team, I'm quite sort of passionate about that, about people, because I think you don't get the best out of someone unless they're happy, as rested as they can be, and motivated. And I just think if you start to chip away at that, you actually lose like the best in people. So I've always been quite passionate about that. So I had my year with my daughter, and that was really important. And then she goes into nursery 3 days a week. So those were my official office days. So I knew that I had that at my sort of home office in front of the computer, and that was my time to really think and to progress the business. And then everything else would kind of be spare time and any extra add-ons. Again, I think it's really important to have some me time. Mm-hmm. And I think particularly as a mum, now I realise that, because your minutes and hours of the time that you had to yourself just dissipate into like nowhere, you know, because you've got other focuses, quite rightly. But I do think it's really important to kind of have that time to regenerate and to kind of rest and to switch your mind off a little bit. And there's a few ways that I do that. I think something simple as just a half an hour really nice hot bath where I just shut the door and, you know, switch things off and put my phone aside and like properly just...
It's like therapy.
Yeah, it is like therapy, and just sort of zone out a little bit. And because, you know, and you'll know, having a career, where you've got to kind of market yourself almost all the time, that's the sort of, you know, there's pros and cons of working for yourself, and that's one of the things that you have to sort of work out how to balance, isn't it? Is whether you're online all the time and whether you're contactable all the time. And obviously the nature of WeBlog and the Northern Blog Awards was it's social media.
Yeah.
So,
and you are, as a blogger, you are your brand.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, how much of yourself do you give 24/7?
Yeah, exactly. And there's always this fear that if you switch off for a day or two, it's like people move on, or you know, they forget about something. So
Instagram followers.
yeah, exactly. And it becomes a bit obsessive. And I think, you know, I've had a couple of moments like that where I've had to sort of sit down and put myself in check and go, right, Holly, like priorities. You know, this isn't going to just disappear overnight, and you know, people aren't just going to forget about the hard work that you put in, and actually go, why am I doing this? Because for me personally, I'm doing this so that I can, you know, have a nice life with my family and provide a nice life for my daughter, and that flexibility to experience things and have memories. So what's the point if you're spending all of that like looking at your phone?
Exactly.
And
I love
so
that.
But you do need, you know, you need to remind yourself of it, don't you? And I just think and again, without sort of harping back to the community side, I think having that community has helped with that, because I mean, I know like with us, like we've become friends and we put each other in check every now and then, don't we? You know, and just say, look, remember this and remember your goals.
I think on Sunday I was like, Holly, you need to chill this week.
Yeah.
What you were putting in our WhatsApp group, like, back in the office on Tuesday to do it.
I'm
like, Holly,
I know.
Just make sure you chill.
I know.
You've done a lot of work.
I know, and that is it, and it is that sort of check. And don't worry, next week is off. I'm off next week for sure. But yeah, I think it is just that reminding yourself, and I do it with my husband too. You know, he runs an agency and it's all consuming. But I just say, well, if we're not having our family time or our time together, or that hour in front of the TV where you're vegging out, like, you need it.
It's those little moments, isn't it?
Yeah.
That you can lose if you're just on all the time.
Yeah, and it just drains you. And I just think, again, you know, I think with most jobs, I know there's obviously some exceptions to every rule, but with most jobs, you know, turning off your phone or going home on time, it doesn't impact. It will still be there in the morning and you still pick up on things. And I just think, and again with most jobs, there's always going to be work, so I just think you could work till all hours of the day and there'd still be more to do. So you do actually have to be disciplined enough and strong enough in yourself to just say, no, that's enough for today. Yeah. And it's actually more detrimental to my well-being and like my personal development for me to just, you know, burn yourself out. And I think that's what can really easily happen in any walk of life, but I think particularly if you run your own business or you're a freelancer, because there's just that different pressure, because you just think, if I'm not working, I'm not earning. Yeah. And I think that's
it's accepting that, yes, this needs to be done, but it can wait.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have a lot of resistance around like 5-6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm on a roll. I feel like I could just do an extra couple of hours of work.
Yeah.
But I have to I like to think of it as doing something nice for like future me.
Yeah.
So if I take a few hours to finish at night, I have a nice like healthy meal that I've cooked, and I've actually had time to cook it.
Yeah.
Spend some time with Adam.
Yeah.
Just switch off.
Yeah.
I know that I'll go to bed, I'll sleep well, and in the morning I can like smash it again.
That's it. You're going to be way more productive than if you sort of run yourself into the ground all evening, get overtired, miss those things. I've done it. I forget to have a bath, and I forget to, stupid things. Wash your hair.
You get to like 9 p.m. and you've not eaten, and then you're microwaving some chips.
Yeah, exactly. And then you don't sleep well, and then you're up, and then you're all a bit dishevelled. And I think, I think that's very true. Actually, doing something, I like that for your future self. I think, because I think that's it. You get so stuck in the moment. And, particularly leading up to this event, I had a few moments like that, which I know you guys know, because I was like, but you get totally consumed. You can't see, the wood through the trees, and you just think, how am I going to get myself out of this? And there's always moments like that. And I think actually sometimes you need those moments every now and then just to kind of like clarify things. But you have to balance them then. If you have like moments like that, you have to go right. And that's why I've always said, like, the event was on Saturday and had a few things scheduled in this week, but next week I'm off, and I'm just totally off, because I know I need that week just to recuperate and to be with my family, and just to, so I think I'm pretty aware of my work-life balance. Whether I always listen to my own advice is another story, but I am pretty aware of it, and I do make a point with myself and people I know and care about, I think it's really important. Really important.
I think it's really important. I'm always harping on about it, and self-care.
Yeah.
Shifting a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I talk a lot on my channel about self-care, but also sort of body positivity, body confidence.
Love that.
Feminism. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to hear if having a child, but particularly having a daughter, has impacted how you approach that in some way. Yeah. Whether it's changed I'm sure it has changed your relationship with your own body, but also how you sort of communicate that around flow and
definitely. I think I think as a sort of, not going into too much depth about my background, but I've always sort of had body confidence issues, like growing up, and it was always something I sort of battled with kind of internally, really, for a long time. And right up until my pregnancy, really. And when I became pregnant, it was I felt really liberated. I really enjoyed my pregnancy, and I really enjoyed the changes happening to my body. I felt really proud of it. And I know everybody has a different response. It's such a major thing that's happening to you, like physically and mentally and hormonally. But I really did. I was lucky. I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the bump and just that feeling. And it was really nice to have that positive response to like your body, like everybody wanting to touch the bump, and
that's that's such an interesting thing, like remark that I'd never really thought much about before. But
because you're sort of always thinking, because people you might be complimented here and there, but it's not the same. Like, it's just that kind of
there's an element of like respect.
Total respect, and that like unconditional, just 99% of people just think it's an amazing thing. So it's actually a really nice thing to be surrounded by. And
it's also less sort of objectifying in the way that some maybe unsolicited compliments might have been.
Exactly. And you sort of
like, more sort of like, there's that element of like, you have to be respectful and kind, and
that's it. And I think there's
considerate.
Most people know that that's where we all start from. So there's this, just like you say, it's like this ingrained kind of respect and admiration for like a pregnant woman, and that's really nice. I actually really enjoyed that, and also it was a really good. I'm one of these people that I work better under pressure. And it's the same when it comes to myself and like healthy eating and things like that. When I'm suddenly thrown into a position like being pregnant where I have to go, right, that's it, no drinking, eat well, I'm better doing that than trying to like diet or something, like ahead of. So when I became pregnant, I was really into like eating better, and I just wanted everything just to go perfectly, as you do. And I actually felt my best when I was pregnant, like physically, and like I felt fitter, and you know, I think it was probably a detox from booze and alcohol and all those things,
yeah.
you know, which, you know, you enjoy in your 20s and things. So yeah, I felt really, really quite positive about my body. And I remember actually really consciously thinking about the fact that I was going to have a child, and that I'd had these kind of, you know, insecurities about my body, and you start thinking about your own upbringing and your own parents. And I was really lucky because both my parents are kind of inwardly confident people, and I guess you don't realise that until you're looking at how you're going to approach parenting yourself. And like my mum is just so down to earth and really strong, and I was never brought up with her scrutinising her image or any, like, no visuals, you know. I can't remember any time her ever, you know, looking at herself in the mirror or poking around and like being down on herself, and you know, you wouldn't think about it. It's just that's how you're brought up. And it's only when I was thinking about my own approach to parenting that I realised how strong a message that was.
Yeah. And
how lucky I was to have that, because I know not everybody does. Yeah, so then when, you know, I had a girl, I had Flo, yeah, I was quite conscious about how I would move forward and how I would kind of approach, you know, my own body as well as like how she thinks about hers. And obviously after pregnancy,
massively interlinked.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do realise that, because you just, you suddenly you go home after giving birth with a human being that is suddenly attached to you, you know, like literally all day, every day. So you realise actually
picks up on like your energy and everything.
Energy is so important, vibe, like everything. Even when I was pregnant, it was so important to me to not feel stressed, like just to not let anything, it was like water off a duck's back for the first time in my life, because I was like, I do not want that stress hormone going to my baby. And I, you know, it really sort of, it put things in check for me in like so many different ways. But yeah, after you give birth, I mean, your body changes completely. And I think it could go one or two ways. Like you can either really get quite upset and distressed about that. Not for everybody. Some people's bodies don't change and they bounce back. But I think 99% of women, it does change. Or you can really learn to love that and embrace that. And for me, straight away, I couldn't believe that I'd grown this perfect human being. Like, you know, I just couldn't believe that I'd produced that. Along with a bit of help from my husband, but you know, I cooked her. I cooked her.
Yeah.
And
pushed her out.
Pushed her out, did the hard stuff. I just couldn't believe it, and I just was so overwhelmed with this, like how amazing my body is. Like I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I've done that, I've grown that, and look how amazing she is, and look how perfect and beautiful she is, you know. And so that was my overwhelming response, and I knew that I had to remember that, you know, when I was feeling a bit, you know, flabby or whatever, you know, you sort of, and I breastfed, so I was just a leaky, chubby mess for weeks, and you know, but that's part of it. And actually, again, when you're looking down and you're breastfeeding a child, it's an incredibly, you know, privileged thing to be able to do.
Probably quite empowering as well.
Yeah, and really empowering. You know, you're giving everything you can to that child and giving them the best possible start. So you know, there's moments, especially, you know, in those few months after, when you're definitely, you know, you haven't got your lovely solid round bump, but you've still got the skin, and you've still got the, you know, bit of extra weight, and you're not quite fitting back into your old clothes, and you're working all these new things out about being a parent. It's really difficult, and mentally it's really difficult. And I think it's better now people talk about it more, but I still think there's a lot of people that probably don't talk about it, and they should. Yeah. But I was lucky, I had a really good network of mum friends, and we all were quite open about how we were feeling, because it's not always elation and happiness. It's hard, and it's mentally tough, but my overriding and my overwhelming sense was always just like pride and respect for my body, that it was doing this. And, you know, again, my husband was fantastic, because he was just like in awe that I could carry and deliver this baby, but I was feeding it and giving it life. And every week, you know, Flo was putting weight on, and it was like, that's me doing that, you know. And it's really sort of, like I say, it's a real privilege.
It feels like a miracle.
It does feel like a miracle, it does. It's totally, it sounds really cheesy, but it's totally overwhelming. I get emotional just thinking about it. But, so yeah, those first stages of dealing with my body, it's difficult, but the overwhelming sense was that, I was proud of it and I had a new respect for it. And actually, we went away on holiday, and for the first time in my life, I just walked around in a bikini by the pool. And I'd never done that. And, ironically, you look back and think, God, I wish I'd done it when I was like 20 and had abs and like really toned. Yeah. And like, what was I worried about? But actually, because I was going out, and instead of thinking about myself, and it's not vanity, it's just, for anybody who's had body insecurities, it's really easy for people to say you're vain, and it's not. You're totally just consumed with anxiety and insecurity.
It's just social conditioning.
Yeah, exactly. And you compare yourself and
you
look around, but actually having a baby to 100% take my focus away was really empowering, because I just didn't care about me anymore. Because I was like, well, I don't care what you think of how I look and my cellulite and my wobbly bits, because look, I produced that.
Yeah.
And that's literally became my approach to life. I was like,
that's awesome.
Look, look how perfect she is. Do you know what I mean? So that, I actually really, really enjoyed that. That was a massive, it took me 30 years, but it was a massive turning point for my life. So that's been a real thing. And then, Flo's 2 now. So there's that sort of awareness of her watching me when I'm putting my makeup on in the morning and things like that. And I am very careful, try to be about the language I use around her about myself and my body, because I can see she mimics everything. So I don't want her to see me like in the mirror going, tugging away at bits. I just want her to see me getting up, happy, clothes on, we're good, yes, I put a little bit of makeup on,
going to work,
doing this
amazing things.
And that's, I just don't want her to even second guess anything but thinking she's brilliant and wonderful, perfect and beautiful,
I love it.
So
I love it, that makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I feel like we could talk.
I know, we could talk
all day about any of these topics. But I just want to finish off with some like quick fire questions. Okay. So, number 1.
Yeah.
What are your non-negotiable self-care rituals? Like, when you're stressed, if you've had a long day and you need that TLC, what is your like go-to?
Alright, it's a hard one, and it's probably not that sexy, but it's a good plate of food, because quite frankly it cheers me up, and I think, and it's good for the soul. So a good plate of food, and preferably home cooked too, and a good bath. I think those are like the things that for me fit into my life, that I can do, that I don't have to make loads of time for, that I know will just instantly lift my spirits and give me that me time. So yeah.
I agree with both of those things.
Okay, good. Like, it's not cool. Like, should it be yoga? Should it be? I think practically,
it's the little things as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is just having that half an hour to make yourself a meal,
and it's
sitting down
simple,
and
isn't
eating
it,
with your husband or your partner, and just.
And I think that's it. I think people think they might have to go off and do something, or go and pay someone to do something or whatever, but actually sometimes it can be just a really simple thing that's close to home that makes you feel better. And like you say, self-care, you might not look at a bath as self-care, but it definitely is. I think.
It's all about what it is for you, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You get in that bath and you forget about the day, and you're just zen, then totally. That's self-care, in my opinion. Gotta do the hand gestures. Second question, what is kind of challenging you to leave your comfort zone and grow recently?
I think the Northern Blog Awards was a massive thing. I think particularly the public speaking side of it, you'll know how much I was just bricking it in the lead up to that, having to, I've spoken to people before, but not 205 people, and not stood up on a stage with a spotlight above everybody else. I mean, I'm quite on a level type person, and that was a massive step out of my comfort zone. And a personal challenge that I feel like I achieved, and I did it, and I pulled it off, I think, just about. So I think I can see as the sort of WeBlogNorth, as it now is, I can see as that grows, there's probably going to be more challenges like that. And also, Manchester's my like little comfort bubble, you know, and actually now I'm going to be talking and going to do events in Leeds or Liverpool, or I think that's kind of terrifying because it's like putting yourself out there to a whole new audience again and thinking, what if they think I'm rubbish?
Yeah.
So I think there's that. I think I'm quite comfortable in WeBlog MCR, but now it's WeBlogNorth. It's a bit of a different kettle of fish, so it's a whole new set of challenges, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All about leaving your comfort zone.
Yeah. I agree. I do agree.
It probably feels like you're starting not from scratch, but kind of that same feeling that
it
you
does
probably
a
got
bit.
when you initially started.
Well, that's it, but that's the buzz, isn't it? And that's the
Yeah.
adrenaline, and that's the stuff
You
that I
have
think
to-
keeps you interested and
Exactly.
keeps you going.
You have to keep pushing, even though it's scary.
Yeah.
It's just, especially when it's a business.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You're growing as a person and a personal brand.
Yeah.
It's just constantly.
Yeah, and that's
what
it.
Can
And you
I
can't
do that makes me feel a bit sick today?
Yeah, it's true, and
Yeah.
because you can't become complacent, and I think you never grow if you become complacent. So, yeah, I do think it'd be quite easy to just like tuck myself in bed now and just go, oh, that's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, see you
Which
later,
you should
guys.
do next week.
Which I will do next week, but I'm
But
aware
then after that.
I've got to
Yeah.
still push it and actually go, right, let me put that date in the diary. Let me get those tickets out there, because if I don't, it won't happen. And that's what's got me here now. I think I've always just said, if I don't put it out there, I won't do it. So I've just got to put it out there.
Love it.
Yeah.
And last question is, what advice would you give to someone who is starting a similar journey? So obviously we've talked about a lot of things, so that could be going into motherhood, it could be maybe a mum on maternity leave who might be thinking about leaving her job and starting her own business, or just vloggers and blogging as a community in general.
I'd say don't be scared. Everything is possible. You've just got to give it a go. You know, so many people will give you a million reasons why not to do it, but there's always reasons why you should do it, and I just think remember those reasons. I think try and find a community, whether it's something like WeBlogNorth, or whether it's your NCT group if you're pregnant, or, you know, your local, you know, knitting group down the pub. I just think you need some people. You need a core group that, you know, share the same, you know, interests, share the same goals, or understand your goals, because I think having you guys champion WeBlog for me has been like the world of difference, you know, having other people that have got your back.
Yeah.
And I think, and also people that you can, on those days where you're not perfect and happy and things aren't going well, that you can actually say that to, because you need to be able to vent as well. So I think community, and I think go for it, and I think fundamentally you've got to try and do something you enjoy, because you'll get bored, you'll get complacent, you know, you won't be happy if you're not doing something that feels right.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably it.
That's awesome. And where can people find you if they want to follow you?
Well, my personal blog is hollygoeslightly.co.uk. So that's all my kind of lifestyle-y bits that I do. And then obviously WeBlogNorth.com. And it's WeBlogNorth across all social. And anyone who'd love to be part of the community, then we'd love to have you. We're totally inclusive and we're a really friendly bunch.
Yes.
Great.
Come on.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much
Pleasure.
for talking to me, and thank you for being my first.
Yay!
I've lost my
You did
interview
it.
virginity.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thank you.
See you later. Bye.